This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
I'd like to punch him in the face. You know, some whack job can say this stuff and get away with it.
An ankle bracelet for Donald Trump, assuming you can find one in his size.
Don't talk to me that way. Don't talk to... I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way.
By the way, a passing note. Darts, not a sport. Not even close to being a sport. It's a pastime. As the country shivers under an Arctic chill, temperatures across the UK will plunge to 17.6 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. And I will translate His Majesty's Fahrenheit to European surrender centigrade for people who aren't patriotic. No! Let's see now, it's so easy an idiot could do it. You simply double it and add 32. So let's see now, 17.6 times 2 is, 17 times 2 is 37, and 0.6 times 2 is 12, so that's 37 and 12, 3712, 3,712. Plus 32 is 3,744. It's going to go down to 3,744 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Over the weekend, this Arctic chill is expected to bring freezing rain and widespread heavy snow. Snow?
Oh, no.
This morning, the Met Office upgraded its weather warning for snow and ice from yellow...
Warning.
Do not get the yellow snow... Never mind. It changed the weather warning for snow and ice from yellow to amber. Don't get the amber snow on your tongue. Don't sniff it, don't smell it, don't squeeze it, don't pick it up with your hands, and definitely don't get it on your shoes. Much of northern and central England over the weekend is under an amber alert, meaning power cuts and travel delays are expected and rural communities could become cut off. Blimey, who's going to hear them whine about paying just half the rate of tax on their inheritance if rural communities are cut off? They're going to have to whine louder. An amber warning for snow and ice is in place from 6 p.m. Tomorrow until midday on Sunday, covering most of the country. Mostly. Up to 30 centimetres of snow, about 6'2", is expected to fall locally in both areas of warning. I left the areas out. It'll be it's like a lottery. You never know what you're going to get. 3 to 7 centimetres is likely elsewhere, wherever that is. A yellow warning for ice and snow is in place for Scotland land until midday on Monday. Dan at the Met Office said the temperatures in the second half of the weekend should be in the high singles or low doubles, but temperatures will dive again next week, particularly on Monday and Tuesday, and they should start to improve again towards the later end of the week. Blimey, up and down like a roller coaster. The conditions do mean that railway services are likely to experience delays or cancellations, but that could apply to any day of the year. Railways are always likely to experience delays and cancellations. Correct. But much of England and Wales could be hit by travel chaos, they said. Experts said that. The roads will be particularly dangerous, and you were advised to thoroughly check your car before setting off to make sure that you have turned your stereo up to earthquake volume so that you can't concentrate on what you're doing, and ensure to drive as close as possible to the car in front because you are special and nothing bad will ever happen to you. Of course, if you're driving an Audi, you will already be doing this.
Thank you.
Appreciate your cooperation. Saturday, cold and frosty, mix of rain, sleet and snow. Sunday to Tuesday, rain, sleet and snow, briefly milder in the south, raining in Glasgow, I bet. Betcha. I can check on that while you wait. One moment, please. Aha, it's raining now. Don't tell me it isn't, because it is. It will also be raining on Saturday and raining on Sunday and raining on Monday and... Oh, what? Not raining on Tuesday. Pfft, rubbish. Or Wednesday, or Thursday, or Friday. You're actually going to get sun on those days. Can you believe that?
No.
And then normal service will be resumed for one day only, Saturday the 11th. And then you're going to get sun again. Wow. Going to be very, very cold. Do you have anything to wear for sun? Right, would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the rest of the month of January?
No.
OK, next 2 weeks. Colder than average, ice and frost, wintry showers, longer spells of rain, sleet and snow. It'd be like winter outside. Then, second half of the month, unsettled weather may bring milder conditions. Milder conditions? We'll take it. There is, by the way, a quadranted meteor shower which peaks tonight in the UK. Isn't that exciting?
No.
No. At its height, as many as 200 shooting stars are expected per hour in what the Royal Museum's Greenwich describe as one of the strongest and most consistent meteor showers of the year.
Groovy.
Millions of Britons will be able to witness a striking celestial event starting tonight as the quadrantis meteor shower streaks across the UK skies. That's probably not right, though, is it? I shall correct that for you. Millions of Britons will not be able to witness a thing as a striking celestial event starts tonight as the quadrantids meteor shower streaks across the UK skies. Look up. There's nothing there. I got fooled too many times at the end of last year, what with the invisible roaring borealis and the meteor showers that you couldn't see. Not getting fooled like that again. Royal Museum's Greenwich describes it as one of the strongest and most consistent meteor showers of the year and insists that some will see as many as 120 flying space rocks per hour with bright fireball meteors, which are larger and brighter and more longer-lasting for viewers than your typical meteor streak.
Yowza.
I'm expecting nothing. And you should too. OK, Meghan news. Blimey. The Mail has started as it intends to go on. These are headlines from one day. So, where did you get your ideas from, Meghan? Viewers spot all the scenes in Duchess's new cookery show that feel familiar, from Marchioness of Bath to Ladybug, Bruschetta and Kate. I have no idea what that means. In her new Netflix series, Meghan Markle invites friends and famous guests to a California estate where she shares cooking, gardening and hosting tips, while smiling as there is misery in the world. But it all feels very familiar, says the Mail. Eagle-eyed viewers have already spotted a series of similarities to old recipes and other shows just hours after the trailer came out. It's a cookery and lifestyle show. Of course there's going to be things you've seen elsewhere. It's cooking, food, and folding table napkins. Not inventing a new anti-gravity machine. Anyway, here's a selection of the headlines from just one day on the same news site. Inside Meghan's friendship with Mindy Kaling. Fashion expert reveals the hidden meaning behind Meghan Markle's clever, in inverted commas, as in they aren't, clever outfits, including that lotus print dress. I don't know what you're thinking. What lotus print dress? Meghan Markle's new celeb circle, the showbiz pals, featured in the Duchess's Netflix show. Meghan Markle could have helped in a meaningful way in the firm, but her new Netflix series is an exercise in celebrity at its most superficial, royal expert claims. At home with Meghan, just not her home. Duchess rents £5 million reality TV mansion a stone's throw from her own Montecito mansion for new Netflix cookery show. Kitted out with a £15,000 range, £600 pans, and chopping boards a snip at 60 quid each. Royal fans notice blunder in Meghan Markle's new Instagram video, what Kate and Meghan's plans for 2025 say about their very different priorities. I think I smashed two headlines into one there. Meghan Markle's makeup artist, best friend forever, declares, "My sis is back," as Duchess of Sussex teases new project on her Instagram account. How Meghan 3.0 relaunch comes after false start, year of flops, including axed podcast, panned Netflix series, and delayed lifestyle brand. Colour expert reveals the surprising meaning behind Meghan Markle's love of neutrals. Meghan Markle reveals rare glimpse of beloved rescue dog Guy in Netflix trailer for With Love, Meghan. Meghan Markle mixes high street and high end in trailer for new Netflix series. Is she living in a trailer? Experts say Meghan Markle needs lucrative Instagram relaunch, tapping into Hollywood followers after history of bad judgments as Duchess faces Netflix high noon. High noon! Wow, dramatic much? They're going to shoot her. One day. One day's headlines. I am totally exhausted. But I bet they're not. There'll be another 20 stories coming tomorrow. One moment. A hot cup of microplastics. This text says, just for you, Nick, welcome back and Happy New Year. And now it's a Happy New Year for your listeners having you back. By just for you, probably meant that I wasn't supposed to read that out. But you put it on my screen, I'm going to read it. I don't care what it is. Lynn in Liverpool says, it's nothing to do with how many months Starmer's been in. It's the lies, lies and more lies, says Lynn in Liverpool, who's made up her mind already. He wants to go back to the Tories. That'll fix everything. Susan says, hi, Nick, did you watch AC/DC River Plate in your time off? No, I've seen it many times before, but I did tape it and I will watch it in its entirety. Apart from maybe the guitar solo at the very end, the very last song, which did go on for about 5 minutes too long. Did you enjoy a refreshment as well?
Booze.
Yes, I did. Although I shouldn't have done, because the American Surgeon General has just declared something that's alarming about alcohol. I might get to that in a while. Not going to like it. I've been watching it too, says Susan. I can't get over that crowd. It is absolutely astonishing. If you have not seen AC/DC in River Plate, then and you are interested in watching 100,000 kids bounce up and down all at the same time to a bunch of old geezers who could be their granddads, then I would tune in straight away, if not sooner. Ken in Somerset says, Happy New Year, and to you and your glorious assistant. Well, let's not get carried away. That might be over-egging it a bit. At least now Elon has decided his English boyfriend should be Tommy. We should see less of Nigel. And Adam says, Nick, I've just heard the Cowboy Carter album. It's incredible. Yes, it is. Groovy. It is very, very groovy. It's a groovy thing. This ain't Texas. Woo! This ain't Hold'em. 0345 6060 973. Here's a call in Glasgow. Hello, Dean.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
I am great, mate.
I'm in the heart of Glasgow at the moment, and it is not raining at all, and it never rained yesterday either. So it is completely sort of bone dry, although it's incredibly icy and cold. It's -2 at the moment.
Right. Are you in Sucky Hall Street?
No, well, no, I'm kind of sort of more in the east end of the city.
Right.
So I live kind of near, obviously sort of Celtic Park end.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, be grateful that you're not in Edinburgh, because it is much, much colder in Edinburgh than it is in Glasgow right now. But it will be raining within the hour, Dean. I guarantee it.
I would absolutely hate to live in Edinburgh. I would hate it. But
Spoken like a Glaswegian. Yes.
What I want to ask you is, what is your opinion on the Elon Musk attempting to interfere in sort of UK politics? And it's almost as if he kind of enjoys using this sort of wooden spoon and instigating arguments across the world.
Here is a man who has not heard the word no in a very long time.
Yep.
And that's it in a nutshell. He's just a childish man who has never heard the word no, whose minions do anything he wants and agree with any stupid thing that he says. And he's just acquired the world's largest megaphone with which he is just yelling at people and enjoying the fact that no one can touch him because he's built a wall of money around him.
And are we able to do anything about it? Like,
we could ignore him. Would be a good place to start.
I don't think. I think with the sort of way the sort of media is, and the way that, as you said, he's got access to the sort of world's largest. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Two things Skier can do. First of all, by whatever method, make it impossible for anybody to give more than, let's say, £20,000 to a political party. No individual or corporation should be able to give more than £20,000 to any political party, and absolutely, definitely and totally nobody who is foreign, who is not registered here and here alone for tax purposes. That's number one. Number two, get everybody to lower the voting age to 16. 16 years old. Because the kids wouldn't vote for him.
I absolutely agree, but what I would say is that I would say that Elon Musk is possibly able to influence an election even more using his sort of platform than he could hope to do with any amount of money.
Yeah, well, I get what you mean, but people are deserting X, and those who are on it aren't using it half as much as they used to. So I think that megaphone, its batteries are on the blink, and it won't be working as well as he thinks it might, because it's just going to be left with people who agree with him, and by that method, there aren't going to be many extra votes in it. Dean, I've got to go. Wrap up warm. Thanks a lot, mate. Take an umbrella. That's my good advice. Always, when in Glasgow, take an umbrella or a hat. Or you could just nick the traffic cone off that statue outside the Arts Museum there. Can't remember what that bloke's name is, but he's always got a traffic cone on his head.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Oh, hello there. Very nice to meet you.
Tessa says, it pleases me greatly that US flags will still be at half-mast for Trump's inauguration. Will they? Oh, because of Jimmy Carter? Because of Jimmy Carter? Really? Is that what you mean? It's difficult to tell, Tessa, because you are not calling me. You've just written that down, and no matter how many times I ask the screen on which it's written, an answer will not come. East Grinstead, hello, Robert.
Hello, Happy New Year to you,
Yes,
Nick.
the same to you, Robert.
Hi, I understand that petition. It's gone past 3 million to have an election.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it'll necessarily... Well, I don't know. I mean, it might solve something, but it's...
What
it's
might
scary.
solve
I don't
something?
know. Yeah, first time in my life. I'm not sure about what I'm calling about. My problem for Farage is a very superficial one. He's wearing a red tie. I know a lot. He's been doing that the last month.
Yeah, if I had to face that colour, I would not wear a red tie.
Okay. Well, look, I like the colour red. I'm an artist. I don't mind colours. I'm not scared of colours. I like red. I like blue, green, whatever.
Yeah.
I think UKIP did well because there was an article about UKIP ages ago in The Spectator, and they were talking about UKIP's branding, and they were saying I think Nigel Farage is a brilliant politician, but the
Nigel,
branding...
Robert, you said a little while ago that this is, we may have spoken before, I don't know, but you said this is the first time that you have called and you didn't know what you were going to say. Is this you figuring that out in real time?
No.
Because you seem to be all over the shop.
No, my points are this. My points about
points.
They're about the political landscape that we're in at the moment.
Yes.
Where you have a deeply unpopular prime minister.
Well,
not really.
Not really.
You don't think so?
No, not really. No, not that unpopular. I mean, take a breath, for crying out loud. The man's been in for 7 months. He hasn't actually done anything yet. He did two things, which the Tories were probably going to do anyway. And the Tories and their client journalists have been raining the gunfire down upon him from the moment that he won the election, which was entirely predictable. I'm getting a bit tired of this. Anyway, good attempt, I suppose. Not really. Thanks a lot, Robert. 0345 6060 973. Joubert says, hi, Nick, have you heard? Luke Littler has just won the PDC World Darts Championship, making history as the youngest ever champion. Truly an awe-inspiring achievement in the grueling athletic discipline of throwing sharp things in a circle while holding a pint. The Olympics must be quaking in their boots. Well, don't give many ideas. I would not be surprised if by the time the next Olympics came around that darts was not a discipline. Not a sport. It's a pastime. How many times do I have to say it? If you can play it at the highest level while being fat, it's not a sport. This text says, hey, Nick, what exactly is freezing rain? Is that not otherwise known as snow? Well, no. It isn't. Now, I am no meteorological expert, but I don't think that the two are the same. I do remember being in London's fashionable Chelsea area on the King's Road a couple of winters ago. It was absolutely alarming. Because it was really, really, really cold, and then it started raining. It was way cold enough for it to be snowing, but it didn't. It rained, and when the rain hit the ground, it instantly froze. So the whole of the area that I was in was now an ice rink, and people were falling down left and right. It was like being at a bowling alley, and the skittles were being knocked over. I clung onto a lamppost because I was wearing trainers, but they had no traction at all. That was one of the most alarming things I've ever been in. But it wasn't snow, but it was plenty cold enough for it to be snow, but it rained on already ice-cold ground and then instantly turned to sheet ice everywhere. God, it's absolutely terrifying. Because I was thinking, unreasonably, I was thinking, well, this is very dangerous. Why isn't anybody doing anything about it? But it happened in a moment, and there wasn't really anything that they could do. I guess they weren't expecting it. It was a surprise. Surprise! 0345 6060 973. Yowza texts, watch out where the huskies go and don't eat that yellow snow. That is very good advice. Watch out where the huskies go. And Frank Zappa says Nanook from the north, I think. I have no idea what that means. Gary in Cardiff says, how dare you be little the littler, Luke the Nuke, world darts champion and fittest sportsman in the world. Not a sport. I'm not saying that it's not skillful. There's no doubt about it. Throwing a tiny dart at a tiny dartboard and getting it in the tiny little divisions in that board, there is a specific skill, which is not really... you can't use it in any other avenue of life, can you, really? You can use running and swimming and throwing things. But not darts, really. What are you going to do with that skill, other than just play darts? 0345 6060 973. Let's see now. Maidstone. Hello, Tony.
Hi, Nick.
Tony.
Hi. Before I talk about what I called up about, just heard that last call. Is this true? There's been a petition of 3 million people saying that there should be a general election.
I don't know. There was a poll. I don't know what the final result was, but it was significantly smaller result than those who wanted a second referendum, and we didn't get that. So
Yeah, well, I'm not even really concerned about it. I just think this is getting ridiculous now.
It is. It's just stupid.
It's really... Do you know what? It's driving me up the wall.
Yeah.
And every time that there's been a lot of conversations about Keir Starmer's approval rating, I just can't listen to it. And, you've got this caller before, probably a nice guy, who knows, probably not, who knows.
No, I think he was a troll. But my troll alert...
I think, God, he's been in power for 7 months.
I
think he's actually done a lot. I do.
Yes, I do.
Think he's done a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's laid the groundwork for a lot of changes is about to happen. Tomorrow, I think tomorrow, the changes, some changes happening with the NHS. We've got schools, there's the care issue, and a few weeks ago, I did read out all of the things that he had both achieved to this point and had started the process of achieving. And it took ages. It just took forever. But nobody pays the slightest bit of attention to that, which is entirely predictable, because almost the entirety of the press in this country is right-wing, and their party is the Tories, specifically because they don't want to pay tax. And that's it. That's what this is all about, is people with little information who are being guided and persuaded that it is in their interests that millionaires and billionaires don't pay any tax. That's really what it's all about. So you name any issue, and that's at the root of it.
totally agree. Yeah, it's like we're surrounded by, this might be a bit rude because I don't know everything. You probably don't know everything.
Morons.
We are surrounded by idiots.
We're morons. We're surrounded by morons.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. And then I've got some notes here.
Notes.
Before I get on to what I wanted to talk. Yeah, I forget. All over the place.
Yeah.
Elon Musk. Now I've been looking at him because he's been on the TV. He looks weird.
Yeah, he's a very weird person.
The way he wears his like little t-shirt with a suit jacket over, and he does all this peace signs with his hand. He's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like him. Right, so I mentioned that Donald Trump. Oh, that's it. Donald Trump's cabinet. I don't know if they call it the cabinet over there. Have you noticed something? He has hardly employed any women. They're all men. And that's a worry. I think it just goes to show the sort of person that he is, I think. Yeah?
Well, I think it's the richest cabinet in the history of America. If they're not millionaires, they're billionaires. And as was the case in the first time around, every single one of his appointments seems to be either completely unsuited for the job or ideologically opposed to the job even existing. But I'm afraid, Tony, that we have used our allotted time on this show, but I appreciate the call.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Oh, hello.
0345 6060 973. So Mark O'Longy has defected from the Conservative Party to the Reform Party. And I know what you're thinking. Who's Mark O'Longy? First of all, his names are first name Marco, second name Longy. It's not Marco Longy. That's his name, Marco Longy. You've never heard of him, right? And now he's defected.
Oh no!
He said the following: the Conservative Party I once identified with, the party of Churchill and Thatcher, has transformed into something unrecognisable, captured by a left-wing influence.
What?
Wow. The Tories under Kemi Badenoch are too left-wing for this guy. You've got to be kidding me. They've been captured by a left-wing influence that masquerades as conservatism at election time while prioritising the wishes of an elite few when in power. Well, who few? In recent years has repeatedly betrayed your trust, and Labour have never earned that trust in the first place. Yeah, they have. Yes, they have. I'll give you one statistic. When the Labour Party were last in power, the NHS literally was the envy of the world. It was the number one rated health service in the world, and the satisfaction ratings from the people in this country who use it was through the roof. That's all you need to know. It's surely the government's number one priority is to protect its people.
It's the country's number one priority.
It is the country's number one priority. And for a while there, he was the country's number one numpty.
This government...
That government. It's the government's number one priority is to keep our citizenry safe and healthy and well. And young and beautiful. Sing! This text says, "Hey, Nick, I missed your entire A to Z of 2024 because my missus decided to take me to the most remote place in the world where radio was no longer invented and phones didn't work. Any place I can listen back?" Why, yes, there is. Thanks for asking. It's called Nick Abbott The Whole Show Podcast. All of the A to Zs are available on Nick Abbott The Whole Show Podcast website. It's on Global Player. It's exclusive to Global Player, as a matter of It's exclusive to Global Player, as a matter of fact. If you haven't got it, get it from your app store or globalplayer.com and ask for it by name, most specifically, Nick Abbott The Whole Show Podcast. We put the Friday and Saturday night shows up, and all of the A to Zs are up there as well. Hackney. Hello, John.
Hello, Mr. Abbott. Thank
yes,
you.
John. Thank you.
I would just like to say...
John, please speak directly into the phone. Hello?
Okay, I am now.
Ah, there you are.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I didn't expect to be my call to come through, but thank you.
Now I'm not expecting it to come through.
Well, what I would like to say is I admire Mr. Elon Musk very much.
Oh, what, physically or mentally?
No, as a person.
Oh, as a person. What makes you so attracted to him as a person?
Well, if I can tell you why. Did you know that he is on the autistic spectrum?
I didn't.
And, he is, and he was bullied at school.
That's why you.
No. These are his. This is where he came from. You see.
Mm-hmm. South Africa. South Africa.
Yeah, South Africa. Yeah.
Yes.
And he achieved so much. He's achieved so much. What he's done for mankind.
Made a lot of money. What he's done for mankind.
Well, I'm not jealous of him for that.
What he's done for mankind? What has he done for mankind?
Space exploration.
No, we've been there. There's nothing in those outer space bars. No atmosphere.
Oh, come on, Nick.
Space exploration. He has not explored space. He's just encircled the globe with satellites and then charged people through the nose to use them.
He has enhanced the knowledge that we already have.
In what way?
With the space exploration, there's stuff learned.
What has he found up there? Well, like what?
I'm sure there's loads. But
no, wait a minute. You just said that you... No, you can't. Unless we get past this. You said that you admire him as a person because of the space exploration and the things that he has discovered. Yes?
No, the things that he's trying to do for mankind.
No, that's not what he's doing nothing for mankind and humanity. Everything he's doing is in order to make himself more money and gain more power. It seems to be an obsession. Seems to be an obsession with billionaires. They've got more money than they could spend in 1,000 lifetimes, and all they're obsessed with is making more of it. Weird.
His legacy is going to be pure.
What does that mean?
But you haven't even heard
Hang on a minute.
Reason why I like him.
Because nothing you've said so far makes any sense. You say that you appreciate him as a person because of the space exploration. Well,
and where he come from a tough beginning like this.
I don't think he came from a tough beginning.
And but my main reason
what was the nature of his tough beginning?
Can I tell you the reason why I like him so much?
I thought you'd been doing that already.
Because how stalwart he is being by Tommy Robinson.
Right, and there we go.
You hear me?
Got there in the end. Okay, thanks a lot, John. This text says, Dear Nick, a couple of weeks ago I sent you a message about walking into the same fence twice and busting my lip. Did you? I didn't read that. That's new information to me. You walked into the same fence twice and you bust your lip. You're not related to that last guy by any chance, are you? Well, this week I was about to put my favour into Kemi Badenoch over Keir Starmer, but I wouldn't want to do anything to make myself look stupid, says that texter, which makes as much sense as anything else I've heard on this show so far. Am I hallucinating or is this real life? Lewisham. Hello, Diana.
Oh, hello. Very quick question for you, if you don't mind.
What's your query, madam?
My query is, I went to buy a strip of plaster today.
You went to buy what, no?
A strip of plaster.
Oh, I thought you said a stripper plaster. I wondered what that was.
Right. And I got the receipt for it, because I always ask for one.
Yes, what? Yes, the receipt. Very important.
20% VAT.
20% VAT?
What? Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
For a plaster?
For a plaster. Right. And I said, why am I paying VAT? They said it's a luxury good.
Really?
Yes.
Well, now, what kind of a plaster? What kind of a plaster is it?
A strip of fabric plaster that you cut
to
fit a cut finger.
One of the luxury ones.
Oh, well, no, it was a standard, but you paid 20% VAT for a strip of plaster.
Right. And how much was the bill in total?
£3.45. Yeah, I couldn't stop laughing because I could go for the pound shop and buy it for £1.
Yeah.
But hey-ho.
On which you would probably still be paying VAT. Yes. They don't get a pass just because it's a pound.
That's a lot less.
Well, yes, it is, Diana, but it would not be a luxury product, the likes of which you just purchased.
I'm absolutely gobsmacked.
Right.
VAT on a strip of plaster.
Yeah.
Come on, it's a luxury. It saves me going to the GP or A&E, right?
You were going to go to A&E with a cut finger?
Well, it was about a quarter of an inch split. And I thought I'd sort it myself.
Don't tell me that, Diana. You want to go to...
Yeah, I sorted it. Never mind.
Go to A&E straight away.
Well, I do have a quick message for Keir Starmer, please, if I may.
Okay.
A very quick one.
Yes.
Right. Could he please order people that he stopped giving the winter fuel allowance, can he just get them to come round and paint their living rooms and their bedrooms like igloos? Then we'd all feel comfortable.
Right. You should get charged VAT on this call, Diana. In the manner that it wasn't actually necessary, that does make it a luxury. God, listeners with material.
Oh, no.
Dave in Cheshire says, absolutely loving hearing all the Brexit voters who voted for sovereignty and the ability to control our own country, kicking off that the government are considering banning a South African immigrant living in America wanting to pay to control our democracy. Double standards much, says Dave in Cheshire. Yeah, I do believe that the Clacton gas bag used to hyperventilate on about foreigners interfering in our political process. What say you now, Nige?
I'm a nutcase.
Tim in Ebervale says, sorry to disappoint you, but there is another side to Meghan Markle. Maybe look at her dark side. It's all there in the press. She genuinely is awful and really disliked, plus a happy 2025 to you, says Tina in Ebervale. The advertising works, and propaganda works even better. If they just keep telling you that up is down over and over and over again, people will believe it. I mean, if they keep pummeling you with stories about what a dreadful piece of work Meghan Markle is, and what an absolute angel is Kate. Isn't she an absolute delight? What a dream. She smiles while walking, as though she's been delivered from heaven above. Kate, oh, so lovely. I bet if every penny that you earn and own depended on it, you would not be able to pick her voice out of 10 people speaking in a row. You've got no idea what she sounds like. It's because she's never said anything. And that's why people love her the most. They just want a doll, essentially. They want a princess doll. Not a real person, just somebody with a perfect smile and a perfectly tiny waist and a perfect way of having clothes drape on her and perfectly made up and just perfect. Not a real person. You don't want a real person, and that's what Meghan Markle is. That's why they hate her so much. And that she took our little puppy dog away. Oh, poor Harry. The Wicked Witch of the West came and took him away. They haven't been able to forgive her for wanting to live her own life, as opposed to the life that had been written down for her very late on in her life. And all that silly nonsense about, protocol, all of that. I mean, you'd run too. Yes, you would.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
What's he got to be depressed about?
Well, the way this year is going so far. Clive in Sydney says, morning, Nick. I was laying in my hammock at 3 a.m. waiting to see the meteor shower, and then it got eerie and the wind came up and the sky turned orange. This is true and a fact, but no meteors, says Clive in Sydney. Orange, you say? Julie in Plymouth says, you're back. 2025 just got better. Thanks, Julie. Please don't mention I'm a year older today. A year older today, Julie. A whole year older. Best present was the Book of Coventry, edited by my nephew Rafe Boylan, says Julie, which sounds like a plug to me. Wanstead, hello, Sophie. Wanstead, hello, Sophie. Sophie,
Nick? Happy New Year.
Wake up. It's later than you think.
Can you hear me?
No.
That's a really nice introduction. Happy
Yes.
New Year.
Happy New Year, yes.
Actually, the bell of doom is tolling. Happy New Year. The bell of doom is tolling for all school workers because we have to go back next week.
Oh, no, you got to go back to the kids.
Can you hear me?
Nightmare.
Yeah. No, I love my job, so I can't complain too much.
Right.
But can I go back to something that came up before you started your A to Z?
Wow, way back into time. Go ahead. Are we on delay here, Sophie? Are you speaking to me from the
Yes,
International
so
Space Station?
A man rang up.
We are on delay.
No, I don't know. I think it's your phone.
Oh,
It's your
I
phone,
see.
Nick.
It's my fault. I tell you what, Sophie, it's insufferable. We'll call you back. How does that sound? We're going to call her back. My glamorous assistant is on that straight away, if not sooner. And while we wait for that, I'll do this. This text is from an anonymous source. Says, Nick, Elon would eat you for breakfast, and you're, spelt wrong, just so jealous of his vast extreme wealth. No, I'm really not. I mean, a little money, yes, but not that much. That would be I think that would be awful. I mean, you'd have to surround yourself with security for a start, and you'd have to surround everybody that you know and value with security. Because anybody that wants to take somebody hostage, you are their number one target. And absolutely everybody you ever meet you will assume that they want something from you. I think that would be horrible. Plus, have you ever seen a billionaire? I mean, just think of all of the people that Donald Trump surrounds himself with. Have you ever seen a billionaire who doesn't look weird? I mean, they all look haunted, as though they're hearing voices. And they appear to spend their entire day trying to figure out ways to, A, make more money, and B, pay less taxes. It just seems to be something weird about every single one of them. So, no, I'm not jealous of his vast extreme wealth. I mean, a couple of million, yes. Anyway, there's more. There's more.
Oh, no.
He hates wokeness, as we all do, says this texter, who's one of those people who's daft enough to think that being woke is a bad thing. Being alert to injustices. Caring about other people. Yeah, we don't want that. Anyway, there's more.
Oh, no.
That's why you are scared of Elon, because you know he speaks the truth and won't have any of this woke nonsense. You see what I'm saying about morons? They're everywhere. It's really quite alarming how many of them there are. And to get an indication as to how many of them there are, just look at the comment section under any news story. It doesn't matter what the story is about. Just look at the comment section underneath, and you will see the truth of what I am telling you. We don't notice because we ordinarily would avoid those people. You'd cross the road to avoid the person that texted that. I mean, you certainly wouldn't want to stand next to them in a pub. You wouldn't want to work with them. You wouldn't even want them to drive you home in a cab. And if they did, you certainly wouldn't engage them in conversation. You'd take one look at them and think, oh, God. And if you were in a black cab, you'd press that magic button that cuts their intercom off. Best button ever. But they're everywhere. There's so many of them. Elon will eat you for breakfast. You're just so jealous. He hates wokeness, as we all do. Oh, she's back. Wanstead. Hello, Sophie.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Yes, I am great, mate.
Good. Before I make my point, I've just had an epiphany.
Oh, yes.
You make everyone...
Sorry to hear that.
Friday, Saturday and Sunday, much better. You should have been on every day of the lockdown.
No.
For our mental health. Our mental health.
Yeah, you're... okay. Stop saying that I'm keeping you sane. It's too much pressure.
No, but you do make my weekend, Nick. But so before the A to Z...
Before you go on to before the A to Z, let me just say that I think that we got off pretty lightly during the COVID pandemic, and I would not be remotely surprised if another bigger, more serious one was just around the corner, at which point I may be on every day. Because
at which point you should be on every day.
You just don't know.
It's funny you said that, actually.
Yeah.
Before I make my point, you've just reminded me of something. I went to the supermarket today after visiting my friend.
You went out during a quaddemic?
Well, I've had the flu. All my school friends have had the flu.
Right. Well, yeah, being a teacher, whatever's going around, you're going to get it first. Yeah.
We catch the lurgies.
Yes.
But all the bread was practically gone, and people were buying tea bag boxes. And I was thinking, I think they're expecting... I know we are meant to have snow, but they're expecting a lockdown or something. And there was a lady carrying like a 16-pack of loo roll.
Oh, no,
and
not that again.
And I was just triggered. I thought, oh, no, exactly, not that again. But there was a man who rang before
just before you get into the A to Z, I seriously doubt that you're going to get cut off in Wanstead. You will still be able to reach civilization, regardless of how much snow comes down in Wanstead.
The rarefied air of Wanstead, which is a beautiful part of London.
Is the wrong answer.
I hope you keep thinking that, because the more people who don't discover it, the nicer it will stay as nice as it is.
The cheaper it will remain, yeah.
Oh, no, it's not cheap, but I'm a renter. I'm not a mortgage payer.
Oh, right.
But by the way, the A to Z, before my main point about the A to Z, there's a German...
We got points and sub-points and sub-paragraphs to sub-points. Go ahead.
There's a German caller who I really like it when he calls, and he only calls during the A to Z.
It's the only time of the year that he calls, and every time he does call, he calls with some excellent suggestions. Yes.
Yes, I love his call. But the A to Z, before the A to Z, a man rang up about why Antigua is not spelt like it sounds.
Antigua.
Yes. And I was going to say, because English is a notoriously difficult language to acquire.
No, I found it quite easy, actually. Almost no effort on my part at all.
No, you're very articulate, but there are around 44 phonemes and about 250 graphemes. So there is more than one way to represent a sound.
Right, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about right now.
So, no, what I mean is you can say a sound in lots of different ways, like sir. No, you can say sir with an S, with a double S, with a C. So do you see what I mean? That's why I think...
I have no idea what you mean.
So,
Does this mean I'm going to have to stay after class?
No, you get credits and a merit.
Credits. Just as long as I don't get any homework, because I hate homework.
Well, things have changed now, Nick. No one does it on a piece of paper. They do it online.
Right. Hey, I was reading about a school that is down to 4 days a week. They teach the kids on 4 days, and then the kids get time off. And then I thought, that sounds great, because teachers, they've got work up to their eyeballs. And then I kept reading, and the kids get 4 days, but the teachers have to do 5.
We work far too hard.
We
need more
hard.
Holidays.
And more pay. Don't forget the pay, Sophie. More pay, yeah. All right, thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player. And
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Anybody care what this guy's saying?
So they opened their big mouths and out came talk. Talk.
Yes, we have been discussing a lot of things, most of which I can't remember. Belfast. Hello, Brendan.
Good evening.
Yes, Brendan.
I wanted to talk about darts.
Oh, yes. The past.
Do you know what darts? No, but when I was speaking to your glamorous assistant, he's a nice guy, right? But he doesn't say darts.
What do you mean?
How do you pronounce the word darts? See the game of darts?
Darts.
Dots. See?
Darts.
That is...
Darts.
That is...
Well, you're saying it as darts. That's not how it's said.
No, I'm not saying it's darts.
Yeah, you are. I just said it.
No, I'm not.
Say it again.
Darts.
Darts. Darts.
Right, so you pronounce darts.
Darts.
Dots?
Darts, yes. Not...
How would you spell darts?
D-A-R-T-S. How would you spell whatever it is that you're saying? Darts.
No.
Darts.
No. Come on. Anyway, kneecap 17 BAFTAs in it, an Irish language movie. Right?
Well, what's that got to do with darts? Does this have anything to do with darts?
No, stop that. It's not darts. Any more than it's dots.
Darts. It's darts.
Okay? I'm not saying to you dots.
Well, let me ask you this, Brendan.
I'm answering.
Well, let me ask you something.
You were going to try and trick me.
Let me ask you something else before I might come on to that question.
Okay, then.
What is often served at tea that you have jam and cream on? It's not that hard.
Mr. Kipling's.
No. What is it?
It would be okay. I mean, you're trying to prove your intellectualism by driving me into a cul-de-sac. It's a trick question.
But what?
You know what I mean?
What is it?
Just because you drove me into a cul-de-sac doesn't mean that when I answer what I see in front of me, which is tarts.
No, not tarts.
But that was a cul-de-sac of your construction.
It's not darts and it's not tarts. It's darts and tarts, but that's not the answer I'm looking for. What is the answer that I'm looking for? Say it.
I don't care what the answer is you're looking for. I rang up to talk about darts.
Yeah, the pastime.
And can I do that now?
Go ahead.
Okay, darts. You sort of denigrated darts. Now,
No, I'm not denigrating it. I'm just saying it's not a sport, which is correct.
But you're saying everything except allowing me to say what I want to say.
Right.
Would it be okay? You know what I mean? Caller.
I would encourage you to talk as long as you like about darts.
Oh, I was like a donkey snorer there.
I know, it's kind of like a donkey.
Well, that's like you. Oh, well, it's just like one of your sneezes. Oh, excuse me. Anyway.
Darts.
So,
have we finished? Have we finished yet? Because it seems like this has been going on for ages. Haven't started.
You will not let me tell you about darts.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it's... see, sometimes I have this crazy recurring dream of reaching my own perfection.
Now, is this you talking about... Hang on a minute. Is this you talking about darts, or are you still complaining?
Darts. No, darts.
Darts.
And seeing the imagery that I have in my head, my pure perfection as a human being, it is able to place a dart exactly where I want it to go.
Yes.
Because I don't know very many people could do that. And you said, now, wait. You said you can't think of any other application for the throwing of a small dart.
None at all.
Well, here, it was the throwing of a small dart and javelins that created humanity.
Javelins is different. Darts, I mean, if he threw a javelin at a board, then I would be more impressed. Darts, on the other hand, isn't. It's nothing. It's just what it is. It has no use in the outside world, which is kind of unique for what is regarded as a sport, but not a pastime. I mean, for instance, Brendan, I can imagine that I can. I'm not saying that I can, but imagine that I could fit 15 walnuts in my cheeks. Now, that would be a pastime, right? See how many walnuts I can fit in my cheeks. Not a sport. And it, too, has no use in the outside world. That whole walnut stuffing cheek thing.
Olympics.
Yeah, I wouldn't be remotely surprised if the Olympics included darts next time around. I mean, some of the silly stuff they've got in there at the moment. Go ahead.
Is there shooting?
Yes.
In the Olympics?
Well, yes, but shooting has... Yes, those things... That's hunting behaviour, of course.
But darts is up close and personal.
Apart from a hamster, what could you possibly kill with a dart?
The hand-eye coordination, the muscle control.
Absolutely. I agree with all of that, but it has no purpose outside of the event itself. It has
Then you cannot agree with shooting or archery.
Shooting gets you dinner. But you ain't going to, I mean, like a snack, perhaps. A snack you could eat between meals without ruining your appetite you could kill with a dart.
Can I get a wee quickie in here? Because you seem to be letting me talk for once in your whole life.
As long as it is quick.
Right.
Quick.
See the darts?
Yeah, darts.
Which we started off with, right?
Right.
Darts. Your dots.
Darts.
You know what I mean? It's dots, mate. It's dots.
Darts.
It's really dots.
Darts, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And by the way, it's scones. Don't even think about saying it another way. Thanks a lot, Brendan. Appreciate it for, whatever that was. Brendan in Aviemore says the traffic cone on the statue outside the Museum of Modern Art is more permanent. More permanent than what? There is a traffic cone, and I think it's Wellington, isn't it? There's a statue of Wellington on his horse, and he and the horse usually has a traffic cone balanced precariously atop. Whenever authorities take that traffic cone down, a local corrects them and puts it back up again. I don't think I've ever seen that statue without a traffic cone on. In fact, you could probably find, you could while away hours of vacant time by trying to find a picture of that statue without a traffic cone on it, and I bet you can't. 0345 6060 973. Cheshire. John. Yes, John.
It's darts. If you're from Liverpool, it's darts. If you're from Newcastle, be darts. Something else, send a different way.
That was the same way. It sounded exactly the same.
Just darts.
Darts. Yes. See,
darts.
now he's got me thinking that I say it weird, but I'm saying it the correct way. Darts.
Well, there was a thing on telly a few years back about darts.
Right.
The final was Fat Belly Jones versus Fatter Belly Jones. Do you remember that one?
No, I do not remember that because I have zero interest in the pastime of darts.
It was a thingy on telly, comedy sketch.
Right.
Fat Belly. And the thing is, what I was ringing up about is about the social care bill, or whatever you want to do with it. which has been going on since about 2010. And all of a sudden, because Labour decided to have a bit of a moratorium and have a discussion over it before they get in. Oh, it's too long. You've waited too long. Oh, what do you call 14 years?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the Tories it's like they're a comedy act now, a sort of tribute comedy act.
Yeah, I mean, what have you been? What you should say to the Tories? What have you been doing for 14 years?
Yeah.
Johnson said, "I've got a plan ready to go." He always had something ready.
That's right. Yeah.
He usually had
another oven-ready plan. Yeah, just heat the oven up and stick it in, and hey presto, there it is.
There's your bun.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I'm sure I saw on TV, on text, Elon Musk has changed his name.
Go on. I feel...
I can't remember it.
Oh, I thought this was material incoming. He's changed his name.
It was on text on the telly.
Right.
And I couldn't remember it. I was looking for the weather reports. Well,
it's terrible out there. The weather. Here's the weather report. There's your weather report.
Well, he's definitely, according to that report, he's changed his name.
Okay.
I think it's to Adolf something.
To a squiggle and a number.
Squiggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Okay, good work. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. Andrew in Penzance says, after 4 years of Trump, nobody will want anything to do with his kind of politics, and Musk will be a laughingstock that will crash. Oh, are you getting a laughingstock and a stock that will crash, both in the same sentence? Elon Musk is already a laughingstock. But as for Trump, he has always been a laughingstock.
Don't be rude.
This text says, Kemi Badenoch's opening statement at PMQs was that she would oppose constructively. I wonder how bad her opposition would be if it wasn't so constructive. Yes, they have become like a tribute band, like a pastiche. And the right-wing press, you could just say ditto. I mean, they threw their toys out of the pram when they didn't win last time around. It's just been constant whining ever since. Like that, constantly. And I told you it was going to happen. I mean, you don't need to be smart or be intelligent in any way to tell that as soon as the Labour Party won the last election, that they would be instantly blamed for everything that was wrong in the country. And they were. These people have absolutely zero shame because they think you have no memory. They think that the British public are idiots who can be told that black is white and that they will believe it. And there's just enough people that it works on, unfortunately. I think that the screaming Mimi has a phrase for it.
I love the poorly educated.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Right, so what are we doing?
Given we're doing a radio show, but it reminds me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we just recorded our 300th episode.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it was a good one. It's double the length, with lots of people contributing as to their own personal milestones. And that's going to be coming out on Monday. So it's a special 300th episode, double the length, and absolutely chock full of people's suggestions as to their milestones. I think you'll love it. The 299 episodes that are already up there can be found by simply asking an internet for What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? And, by the way, we'll be back to our normal podcasts in, let me see when we're doing it, next Tuesday. We're going to record it next Tuesday, it'll be coming out on Friday, but the 300th comes out on the Monday. This coming Monday, 300th episode. And if you want us to have a bash at your issue, your dilemma, a question that you've always thought about, wonder why that is, just ask us. Leave it to the unprofessionals. Nick and Carol at global.com. NickandCarol at global.com. And prepare to be totally satisfied.
Yeah.
300th episode of What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol coming out on Monday. Barnstable. Hello, Kate.
Oh, hi there.
Kate. Hello there.
Yes. Well, I've been waiting a long time. I've had a long chat with your producer, so I've kind of missed quite a lot of what's been going on. But I did catch a bit of the last conversation, or the conversation before.
Yes.
And I have to say, I'm extremely offended on behalf of all hamsters out there.
Yeah, sorry, but I picked on hamsters unreasonably. It could have been any small rat-like creature.
Well, first of all, you denigrate the skill of stuffing your cheeks with things.
Yes.
And then you suggest that people that the darts could be used for attacking small
pets,
innocent rodents.
Yes.
I was most offended.
Small pets, yes.
Yes, and all the people listening right now. I mean, both of them.
Yes.
Might actually, decide to go and attack a hamster now. It's all because of you, because, words matter.
Well, they'd have to buy one first, Kate. So, I'm actually doing...
they don't necessarily have to buy one.
I would think so, yeah.
Their friends might have, hamster pets next time they go around to their house, if there's a dart handy.
That is true, but there is the off chance that they might have to go and buy one, thereby revivifying the local economy. You're welcome.
Not really. I mean, then you create another vacancy for a hamster, and the carbon footprint of that hamster could be quite large.
Well, that's the thing. One thing that hamsters are very, very good at is having relations with other hamsters.
Disgusting.
By which method they reproduce. Can you believe that?
Well. Science hasn't completely passed you by then.
Not completely. No.
No. Well, what I did originally, a long time, it feels like decades ago.
Yes, so you said you've been waiting a very, very long time.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Yes, please whine more.
Well, and this is what I'm here for, isn't it, really?
Apparently.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was intrigued to listen to your story.
Mm-hmm. In between chatting to my glamorous assistant, wasting his time, yes.
He seemed to enjoy it.
He's left the building.
Well, I mean, I hope because his shift is over, he could have cut me off at any time, which I'm sure you will. I'm sure you're about to do.
I'm about to do that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I was intrigued by your story of how you were on some street in London and it was very cold and it started raining.
Yes. I've had a text about that very thing. It's very brief. I'll read it to you. Nick texts, the Met Office describes freezing rain as liquid precipitation that strikes a cold surface and freezes almost instantly. And that is precisely the nightmare that happened to me.
Well, I have to say, if that is the most scary thing which has ever happened to you, what sort of a sheltered life have you lived?
A very happy and productive one.
Really?
No, not really, no.
Well, but what I was struck by when I heard the story was it's like a wonderful visual metaphor. Mm-hmm. I can just imagine you
me
there.
hanging onto a street lamp while all about is
hanging onto
people
a street
are
lamp.
falling around me. Yes,
people are falling around you,
crashing to the concrete. They were
crashing to the concrete, and you're desperately trying to stand upright. It's just like you trying to defend this Labour Party, this Labour government, and it's just so delicious. You're just trying so hard, and you're slipping, sliding around, clinging to your lamppost because you know they're rubbish. Everyone knows they're rubbish. We all hate them. Everybody hates them. Everybody hates them.
Everybody does nothing of the sort, Kate. But at least you've given them, sufficient time to mend the country after 14 years of a party whose single determination appeared to be just smash up everything that we rely on and then set fire to it. And while the flames were still burning, blame the incoming Labour government for the mess they'd made.
I'm not here to defend the appalling non-Conservative last government. They were appalling by any measure.
Non-Conservative? They were Conservative down to their tippy toes.
They were not Conservative. They didn't conserve anything that was worth conserving.
Yeah, but that's not the nature of the Conservative Party. Just because they're called Conservative doesn't mean to say they conserve anything.
Of course they don't. Just because they call Labour doesn't mean to say they work. Anyway, but what I'm here to say is the problem problem is they're all working for the same people. They're not working for the British people. They're working for the WEF. And
oh, my God.
And the Labour government are like the
incoming lunatic.
They're like the Conservatives on steroids.
Yes.
It's absolutely terrible.
Lunacy incoming. What kind of a hat are you wearing, Kate?
Not my tinfoil one.
That was your first mistake. I would rush to the kitchen drawer, whichever one it is that you keep the cling film in. I would wrap your head in cling film to start with, making sure that you leave a hole so that you can breathe. And then apply the foil on top and see how that works out for you. Send me a picture. 0345 6060 973. Alex in Leeds says, playing sport at a high level while being fat, where does that place sumo wrestling in your framework? Well, that's not a sport either. That's just slapping each other. How's that even a thing? Let's have Wembley Park. Hello, Christoph.
Oh, hello there, Nick.
Hello there,
Do
Christoph.
you mean the one in Wembley Park?
Yes, I do.
Oh, right. Can I just first say something about darts? I think that a poison-tipped dart could bag you a banquet.
Yes, but not chucked like that. It has to be put in a long tube and blown at a monkey or something.
Do you think it has to be?
Yes, I do.
Anyway, that's not really right. But I also want to get a few merits from Sophie, both of her phonemes and graphemes.
Oh yeah. What does that mean? I thought graphene was something pencils were made of.
I think it must be a different spelling, but I'm just assuming she said grapheme. I haven't looked it up, but if it ends in the same letters as phoneme, right. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, but
can I pronounce it as darts?
Well, no, you can't, because that would make you sound silly.
Well, I wouldn't want that.
But did you know that there are 7 different ways of pronouncing O-U-G-H?
O-U-G-H. But not on their own, there aren't. Only if you append it to other letters.
No, not at all.
I think you'll find that is correct.
Well, yes. I mean, yes. In other words, yes.
Liar.
No. I think I just misunderstood what you said. But yeah, you never pronounce O-U-G-H on their own. You always pronounce them inside another word. I agree.
I mean, it would be oof, I suppose. O-U-G-H. How else would you pronounce that? Oof.
Well, there's no way of knowing how you pronounce it on its own. In fact, you only know how to pronounce it if
there's a letter in front of it.
See it in a word and know what that. And have heard other people say that word.
C-O-U-G-H is co.
Yeah. And R-O-U-G-H
is roff.
And T-H-O-R-O-U-G-H.
T-H-O-R-O-U-G-H. Through.
No. That, with the O, it's thorough. No. And without the O, it's... No.
The O is silent.
Right. And...
Well, the first one is, anyway.
Listen, I knew great accounting. Are you sure it's the 300th episode?
I used a mental arithmetic.
Oh, no.
Yes.
And then you read a text out from someone who said that he was laying in a hammock in Sydney.
That's what he said.
I wondered what he was laying. Was he laying an egg?
Oh. I bet you wish you hadn't said that now.
Yeah, well, you see, lay is a transitive verb. I'm just trying to get some more merits from Sophie at this point.
He's a transitive?
Lay.
Say goodbye, Christoph.
No, well, hang on.
Oh, no.
I don't want to say goodbye yet. I haven't got to the best bit yet.
Oh, there's a best bit. I can't wait to hear this. Go ahead.
So, before I talk about Elon Musk, I just want to say that there was a time in a dim and distant era, before I knew much about him, when I thought Boris Johnson was quite admirable.
Oh, admirable?
Yeah,
what do you mean, admirable? You mean funny?
No, but before I realised...
Admirable?
Before I realised that he probably did it as a publicity stunt, I heard that he was cycling through London one day and saw a woman in distress being sort of harassed by someone, and got off his bike and went to her aid.
Did he? Stopped clock and all that.
Exactly. And I think the same kind of might apply to Elon Musk to some extent. In other words, that before we knew as much about him as we do now,
yes,
then I think you could probably see him as a bit admirable.
Admirable.
For his talent to
what?
To sort of, I don't know, invest in the right opportunities.
Right.
Before he bought Twitter, that is.
Yeah, like Donald Trump. Apart from all of his catastrophic failures, he's a tremendous businessman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, indeed. And I kind of thought that the reason this person, whose name sounds a bit like a coffee machine, defected to Reform.
Yes. DeLongo. Yes. Yeah.
It seems fairly plain to me that he is quite keen, perhaps, to get his hands on some of that £100 million that might be coming Reform's way.
I seriously doubt it'll come his way, personally. But so if he's done it for that reason, I would very much doubt it, and B, I think he's in for a big disappointment.
Yeah, but I think it's the only good reason for wanting to join Reform.
I think it's there's another reason, that he might think that in his seat, Reform might do well at the next election, which makes it a bit early to jump ship now. But if he's worried that the Conservative Party is too left-wing for him, well, I think I've heard enough. Of him and you, Christoph, and I mean that last part in the nicest possible way. Appreciate it.
Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
What number are you calling from?
0345 6060 973. Sam says, Nick, Starmer's purge of the left will come back to bite him. He will ultimately be isolated, as the right that he has been trying to cozy up to will never be on his side. We need somebody like Mick Lynch or Eddie Dempsey to cut through the nonsense. They absolutely destroy anyone who tries to spread disinformation. Yeah, well, I don't think either of those two individuals would be interested in being the Prime Minister. And I'm a huge fan of Mick Lynch and his ability to unpick his opponents into their constituent molecules while maintaining a Zen-like calm. He's utterly brilliant at it. But you aren't going to get the public to vote for somebody like Mick Lynch. I mean, you just aren't. They need somebody unthreatening and safe and warm, like a teddy bear, like a Tony Blair. Not Tony Blair now, Tony Blair then. Or Elon, or Keir Starmer, who was a bit Tony Blair-like. By that method, you will make people feel, comfortable with their choice, and then the country will shift ever so slightly to the left. Because those are your choices. I mean, you can shift ever so slightly to the left, or you can hurtle headlong to the right. Select. And if you're going to the right, then you'd better be worth a lot of money, because they aren't going to do anything for you if you're not. They just aren't. That whole man of the people nonsense that they try to pull with the flat hat and the pint in the hand and a fag, that's an act. The public school boy millionaires are pretending. It's an act. That's not who they are. They are much more comfortable at the Savoy with some vintage champagne on the table than they are with a flat hat and a pair of spotless Wellington boots down the pub with a prop pint and a fag. That's not who they are. Wake up, sheeple. It's later than you think. Edgware. Hello, Stephen.
Hi, Nick.
Stephen.
Nice to finally get through to you.
Oh, here we are.
Can I ask you, respectfully, what would you say in a month or so's time when the excess death figures for cold winter come out that are thoroughly swelled by the fact that your beloved Labour Party has dispensed with the winter fuel payments for millions of pensioners who are now frightened to turn their heating up. I mean, will you
as opposed to last year,
your nice
when
little,
as opposed to last
your nice
year,
little Boris
when
Johnson little thing?
Something about Boris Johnson. What was that?
I said, will you play your little amusing impersonation about Boris Johnson when you're trying to justify all those excess deaths?
What's Boris Johnson got to do with it?
Well, you just put him in now and again, don't you, just to liven the conversation up. I'm just saying that, you make frivolous comments.
Yeah.
Please answer my question. What are you going to say about the excess deaths
I think
when the winter fuel payments have been shut off?
How many excess deaths?
Shut them off.
Well, the Tories were probably going to do that because the Treasury had been asking them for a dog's age to do just that. And it's absolutely true that there are many pensioners who do not need that money. Pensioners are that age group is considerably better off than the young who equally don't have the money.
Okay. Can I therefore say that the way forward should have been that the Labour Party are continually using as an excuse the fact that come next April, or this April now, sorry, we've passed the new year, this April, the pension will be going up quite a lot because of the triple lock.
Right.
What they should have done, not everybody's got any money in the bank. A lot of pensioners live week to week.
Right.
So
well, it's means tested, Stephen. That's the essence of it. It is means tested. Those that need it, get it. Those that don't.
Yes, but you will know, and you know already, that there's a lot of people, pensioners, that will not go through
and
the
a lot of young people similarly
routine. Yeah, but have you ever seen the forms?
If their forms are the problem, Stephen, then that is down to the Conservatives who have been in charge for 14 years. For crying out loud, you want Labour to fix everything that has gone wrong under 14 years of Tory rule in the first 7 months, including Christmas, by the way.
Well, all I've heard since the new government have come in is blaming the Tories.
That's because it's their fault.
Well, can I just finish what I was going to say? Had they realised that the pensioners haven't necessarily got savings...
That's because it's means tested. It's means tested,
increment.
Stephen. Right, it's means tested.
But it's so complicated, you have
no idea. Then blame the Conservatives, Stephen, because they have been in charge. It's like we're going around in a tight circle here. And then you'll say, well, you're getting sick and tired of them blaming the Tories for everything. They're only blaming the Tories for everything because it's their fault. Everything that is wrong with this country is the fault of the party that has been governing us for the last 14 years. Everything. How could it not be? Unless there were intractable problems that they inherited 14 years ago, that they worked diligently to try to fix, but they couldn't make any inroads. Name one thing like that. You can't. So everything is their fault. And it is entirely predictable. I said it was going to happen, but it is just dispiriting and kind of depressing that people insist that because everything is not fixed yet, it's Labour's fault. Crying out loud. It's just so infantile. All this country has done since Labour won the election is scream like a baby. And what's absolutely frightening is that people are so gullible. You know that it's not true that this is Labour's fault, that everything that is wrong with the country is Labour's fault, that schools that are falling down, riddled with asbestos and breaking concrete, and kids are being taught in porta cabins. You know that that's not Labour's fault. You know it's not Labour's fault that you wait for 6 months to see a consultant and then wait another 6 months to get an MRI scan. You know that's not Labour's fault. You know it's not Labour's fault that that wages have not kept up with inflation and that the super rich have got ever more super rich and the rest of us have just been slaving away and getting nothing for it. We create wealth, but we don't actually enjoy any of it. Like used to be the case in the 50s and the 60s and in the 70s, in fact. I mean, wealth has been created, and the wealth of billionaires has gone stratospheric over the past few years, particularly since COVID, and none of the rest of us have enjoyed any uplift from it. And you know that's not Labour's fault, but you're blaming them anyway. It's just absolutely ludicrous. I mean, Keir Starmer must be pulling his hair out. And there's this idiotic poll that came out today that said, Britain's on course for a hung parliament. God, we're like 4.5 years out, and already they're writing them off. And people are people are so easily led on this, on things that they know aren't true. I mean, nothing that I just said a reasonable person could blame on the Labour Party, but they're blaming them anyway. They're instinctively blaming them anyway. And it's infuriating, because it does mean that we're so gullible now, we're so prone to believe any old nonsense that's thrown at us, as long as it, twangs our distaste for anyone who is other than us. Stop the boats, that kind of thing. Like, that's our problem. 30 bedraggled, damp people who show up on a dinghy in Dover. Like, that's while 1 million people sail through Heathrow with a visa. No, let's concentrate on the 30 people in the dinghy, because, they're an easily identifiable minority, and we just pick on them. It's just it's just so predictable. And it's terrifying, because if they can get you to believe that, something that you know isn't true, they can get you to believe anything. And now we've got the world's richest man, who's like I think the Guardian called him the world's biggest pub bore, which is exactly what he is. He's telling us that up is down, and he wants to basically run this country. And there's just enough gullible people who would love him to do it, just as long as it upsets the libs. I can't stand it anymore. I really can't. I have zero patience now. You don't have any patience either. They want everything fixed immediately, and they don't have to pay for any of it. There's that too. Yeah, we want an excellent NHS, and we want an excellent police service, and the fire brigade, and we want the army back to proper numbers again, and we want battleships, and we want street lights, and we want infrastructure, and we want the potholes fixed, and we want clean water, and we want to get the sewage out of our rivers, and on and on and on and on and on, but we don't want to pay for any of it. Oh, because that's socialism, that is. It's just, this entire country seems to have lost its mind since the election. It's just been one long scream. I can't deal with it anymore. But I do wish you all the best, Stephen. Thanks for that.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
0345 6060 973. Here is a call in Devon. Rose.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, Rose.
I was just thinking, there's a certain freedom in your job, isn't there? You can just let it all out.
Rose, if it's in you, you have to let it out.
Yes, but you see, when one's phoning in, one's constantly editing oneself.
Is one?
That thing where, like if you have to write an article and you're having to cut it down all the... You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I've rung in about is this Musk person.
Ugh.
Because I don't think he merits all this attention.
No, he doesn't. If he didn't have any money, nobody would be paying him the slightest bit of attention.
Well, that's what I wonder. You see, my feeling is so strongly, I think the British bow their heads before wealth.
Yes.
Before they've even known they've done it. And I think we're drawn, well, eagerly, really, to submissiveness, frankly.
Yes.
It's a sort of instinct.
It's in our nature.
It is, isn't it? Well, it's not in my bloody nature, I'm telling you.
And we hate ourselves for it.
Yeah, there's this sort of grumbling resentment all the time, isn't there? And that comes out on inappropriate people, where what it's actually all about is this class system. Really, is people resent being at a lower part of the class.
Yes, but they can't help themselves from... It's like... It's as though we enjoy the misery.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it used to be explained by the fog, but we don't have fog now. That we used to, foggy. That's completely not what I've rung up to say. Because part of it, Nick, is... Well, one thing I'm thinking is we should copy Finland, because, they've gained...
Definitely. Be more Finnish.
Independence.
Yes.
They became an autonomous country. They got their independence from what's basically another massive country ruled by megalomaniacs like America, Russia.
Yes.
Well, it's time we did the same and just ripped the Velcro off America and we would be ourselves. I mean, how dare this man say that one of our ministers should be... it's just laughable.
It is, yeah.
And I saw his face on a newspaper once, extremely unpleasant. His eyes are dead. Listen, I heard he spends 20 hours on social media. He's addicted to his own algorithms. It's pathetic.
Yeah, he seems like Trump. He seems to stay up all night, like rage tweeting at people. Like he's 12.
Well, I mean, where do you flipping well start? And the awful thing is, it doesn't. Have I said he doesn't merit all this attention? While I was listening to you, I've sort of gone over all my letters a double. When you've got written something down, and now I've covered it all over with. Well, never mind. But you see, the trouble is, the more attention
scribbling,
these people get,
Rose. Stop scribbling.
Scribbling. The more familiar they become. Like the unmentionable. I can't bear to say his name, that little man. No. The more attention, the more familiar, the more normal, and therefore the deeper they dig into the fabric of the country. It'd be quite normal to end up with God knows what running the country, because they keep on shoving them in front of us. Yes. These people.
Well, Elon Musk has obviously bought America, or at least he thinks he has. I'm predicting trouble in paradise, because Donald Trump thinks that he's in charge, but Elon Musk must think that it's actually Musk that is in charge, because he's got all the money. And Donald Trump loves nothing more than money. So Elon Musk must think, well, this is my country now. I bought it, and I can do whatever I want with it. And I'm sure that he intends to do just that. But the ego of the man is so out of control, because nobody has ever said the word no to him. And he's surrounded by people who, who are constantly telling him how wonderful and marvellous and gorgeous and thin and beautiful he is. And he wants to take over other countries as well, because he thinks, well, I've got all this money. What am I going to do with it? Well, let's annex Britain and Germany.
Oh, that's uncanny. Do you know, this is by no means the first time this has happened. You've just said the word annex.
Yes.
Well, literally, in the last 2 or 3 days, I've come up with the word annex for something else, which I'll ring in about when it's appropriate.
Was it you were going to have another wing put on your house?
I haven't got a house. I'm renting. No, it just happened. I don't understand it. You'll think I'm a psychic. Psychic. Oh, I can't think of the word. What? But anyway, just go back. Annex, yes, but you see, it ain't necessarily so. He has got to be seen as just a person, which he is. You might remember this. 10 years ago, it would have been about Cameron, who's not my favourite person, David. There was some American who'd said that there are certain areas of Britain that are no-go areas because of the immigrants. And Cameron just said, he's a complete idiot. And nobody heard anything more about him. Well, why can't we do that now?
Right.
You know?
Because people are... I'll tell you the reason. It's because people are frightened of Donald Trump. And the reason that people are frightened of Donald Trump is that Donald Trump is a baby with a machine gun. He is an infantile man who has, by some weird twist of fate, been made the world's most powerful human. I can't think of anybody, with the possible exception of Elon Musk, who should occupy that position less for the benefit of humankind. But that's where we are now. And so this is why companies that are worth billions, if not trillions of dollars, are crawling across the carpet to kiss his shoes, is because they know that he is an infantile man with an unlimited amount of power and is just the kind of whining baby who would use all of that power to get back at anybody who he thinks has been mean to him.
Oh, I see. So it's fear, really.
Yes, it's like dealing with the bully on the schoolyard playing area.
Yeah.
You got to be, just tell them that they're nice and give them your dinner money, and maybe they won't beat you up. I mean, that's who we're dealing with now, and so that's why these billionaires are flocking to him to flatter him and tell him he's marvellous and give him $1 million for his inauguration fund, which is no doubt will put straight in his pocket and use it to buy painted pictures of himself to hang in his gaudy golf clubs. But that's why the whole world is on their tiptoes and they're treading carefully around him, is because he's a whining baby of a man with a grudge complex.
But how much harm can he do to somebody? Or am I being very naive?
Yes, you are being naive, because he will use all of the power at his that is available to him, which is the might of America. Yes. He will use, and couldn't care less about Americans. I mean, the notion that he's going to be working night and day for the benefit of your average American is just laughable. So, and he will use, I mean, he keeps talking about tariffs. Tariffs are going to increase the prices for people in America. He won by telling them he was going to reduce the prices in the shops. That's how he won.
Oh, yes.
By pointing at the border and saying, I'm going to stop the rapists and the murderers coming here, and saying I'm going to make eggs cheaper and you're going to have cheaper petrol. And tariffs will increase prices. But he didn't care about that because he's getting back at people who have been mean to him in other countries. It's like he's a baby with a machine gun.
Oh, God. I tell you what, a good cartoonist, Steve Bell or somebody, maybe could draw that. I mean, I keep seeing this image whenever you say the baby with the machine gun.
A bright orange...
sitting on it in a nappy.
Yeah, a bright orange baby with a machine gun.
Oh, shut up!
Yeah.
Oh, God, we're doomed. We're doomed.
Well, maybe the baby will go to sleep and we can tiptoe gently out of the room.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I did think, shall I just add something completely different and a bit light?
Are you going to be talking about darts?
Oh, God, no. No, I used to enjoy darts, but I do agree with you on that one. It's a pastime.
It's a pastime, yeah.
Very skilled, but a pastime.
Yeah.
No, it was just that when you were talking about the Princess Kate...
Oh, yeah.
Much earlier on, I went in to make a cup of tea, and I said to myself, always smiling and all that, I bet she's saying to herself, no, that's not me. I'm not like that. I'm not this lovely person, perfect person. I was up all night reading Gibbon's Decline and Fall or something,
That's the job, though. I mean, she signed up for it. She wanted it desperately. She went to the same university as Wills in order to get, get close to him, apparently.
Really? She pursued him?
That's my understanding. If that's not true, then I apologise. But my understanding is that she selected the university, or her mother perhaps selected it for her. I don't know. I don't know what the machinations of it were, but that's why she went to St Andrews.
St Andrews, yes. A friend of mine
which
went
is
there.
An amazing university. I looked over it when I was at school. Choosing where to go, and wow, what a place!
Yes.
But it's a bit out of the way, but she selected that job, and the job is not to say anything ever for the rest of her life on any subject other than, why can't people be nice? And let's think about those less fortunate while she, doesn't.
Wouldn't suit you, that job, would it?
No, it would not. No, I would be inappropriate for that job. Plus, I don't think Wills would want me.
So she thought, I know, I'll be queen.
Well, maybe eventually she will be. Yeah, if she keeps smiling long enough. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Rose.
Yes.
Chin up.
Dear.
Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Aristo says, I detest Elon Musk so much, I'm about to contact the few charities I donate to and let them know I will be cancelling my standing orders unless they remove X from their websites. My prerogative, power to the people, says Aristo. And Mike says, why do I keep thinking of Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome every time I see Elon Musk with that little fella, little fella sitting on his shoulders? 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Okie dokie.
Hot H-O-T-A-I-R.
This text says, did you see that clip of on FB, Facebook? No, I didn't. I don't need to read any further. No, I did not see the clip on Facebook, but I will read further. Did you see that clip on Facebook of Nigel Farage, Liz Truss, Boris Johnson et al. Being entertained at the Carlton Club with fascist jokes and songs? How much worse can it get? Well, considerably worse than that, I would imagine. I mean, this is just what we know. This is from the National newspaper, Scotland. Guests at a Tory private members club have been laughing at Nazi jokes with the host singing "We're All Racist Now" in a disturbing video clip. The London Economic has obtained footage from a dinner hosted by media outlet Guido Fawkes at the Carlton Club in London, which was attended by former Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And his current wife. Reform leader Nigel Farage. Ex-MP Liz Truss.
Absolutely.
And former Cabinet Secretary Robert Cartoons Jenrick. And Reform MP Lee 30p Anderson, among others. In the alarming video, comic Dominic Frisby can be singing, "We lost our way, long past our best, so I suggest maybe we should have let the Nazis win." To raucous laughter, Frisby went on, "They wouldn't have stood for the state that we're now in. The roads would be fine, the trains on time, we'd all have a second language." Tories could be seen laughing, smiling and clapping along to the song. Just days before the event took place in November, both Johnson and Truss had laid wreaths at the Cenotaph, and Reform UK leader Farage had kicked off, that's what they've said, kicked off about not being invited to the remembrance commemorations, he said. Well, so far, that's a story in the National, the London Economic, it's on X, Politico, Facebook, and then you keep scrolling down and you get Hitler Youth claims that hang over Nigel Farage's school days from the Mail, but that's a couple of years old now. You probably know about that story. Well, I'll go to the foot of our stairs. Isn't that totally and completely surprising?
No.
Just so we know where we are. Cumbernauld. Andrew.
Oh, hello again, Nick.
Andrew.
Just to return to your favourite subject, the darts.
Oh, yes.
I think it's a sport.
No.
No, well. I'll tell you what definitely are not sports.
Go ahead.
Gymnastics, figure skating, ice dancing.
Don't be daft. Gymnastics, not a sport.
Not a sport. Anything that requires the opinion of a judge rather than a measuring tape or a stopwatch is not a sport.
Tennis?
Oh, that's a sport.
Football?
Sport.
But that depends on the opinion of a judge.
Only when things are potentially fouled or wrong. If you're engaging in gymnastics, then you need 3 or 4 people at the side to give marks out of whatever.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, that makes it not a sport.
Well, I don't really understand the delineation there. I don't see that the one thing has anything to do with the other. My definition is much better than yours.
Ah, right, okay.
As any judge would say. You get a 7 all across the board. I get a 9. So no.
So there.
Yeah.
All right. And just, I've got an easy solution to the winter fuel payments.
Go on.
It's relatively easy to administer, relatively. Nobody needs to apply for anything, so there's no paperwork.
Mm.
So what you simply say is that any household with a pensioner residing in it qualifies for it.
Yes.
And what happens is that each pensioner doesn't get a payment towards a bill that they get directly from the government. What happens is that the pensioner has to budget, let's say, for £150 for the winter quarter or £200. You delineate a figure and say budget for X amount for the winter quarter, and they pay the first whatever, and anything and everything over and above that gets paid by the government. So that if you live in a bungalow in Cornwall, your electricity bill is going to be a lot less than if you live in a drafty house in the north of Scotland.
Yes.
So that obviously the payment that a bungalow resident in Cornwall needs is a lot less than a drafty old house resident in the north of Scotland needs.
Right.
So it makes very little sense to say everybody gets the same.
Yes. I got a even better idea. The energy company should cover the cost of whatever extra you need to do to put the heating on when the weather is cold. If it goes down below, let's say, 50 degrees outside during the winter, then however many days that is, then if you or somebody in your house is over a certain age, then the energy company should pick up that cost. I mean, they're making unimaginable profits, more profits than they could possibly have ever dreamt possible, pre to COVID and the Ukraine war. They're making out like bandits. Why can't they give some back?
Yeah, quite possibly. But at any rate, you definitely say to any pensioner is, don't worry about the cost. You only have to pay the first whatever.
Right.
Because if you give them, let's say, £150 and they live in a big drafty house, they're still going to worry.
And none of this would even be a thing. It would not matter if we paid pensions at a decent rate rather than the poverty rate that we've got in this country, which is one of the worst, most mean pensions in the developed world.
I mean, there are a lot of pensioners in this country that are really well off, a lot of them.
Yeah, that's right.
But there are a great many that are anything but. I mean, those people need to be looked after.
Right. Agreed. Thanks, Andrew. 0345 6060 973. Matty on Newmarket. Texts. Was the NHS waiting lists where in the 2 to 300s when Labour lost power in 2010? Does that make sense?
No.
Shall I read it again?
No.
Was the NHS waiting lists where in the 2 to 300s when Labour lost power in 2010? Nope. Press on, it might make sense in the end. Admittedly, you wouldn't expect to inherit that now with population and COVID, but now these figures are millions and probably double or treble what they should be. Right. Well, I'm still confused, but I think you're saying that it was better, the NHS was better under the previous Labour administration, which is verifiably true on every measure. Every measure. All of them. Let's see now. Mitcham. Hello, Leroy.
Yes, greetings, Nick.
Leroy.
Yes, Elon Musk.
Yes.
Right, Nigel Farage.
Mm-hmm.
He does not like immigrants. Isn't Elon Musk an immigrant originally from South Africa?
I believe so.
Yes.
Nigel Farage also doesn't like foreign interference in British politics, unless it's foreign interference towards him, in his benefit.
and a multi-billionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all these billions that he's got, does he know what he's taking on in the UK? Sewage in the river, drinking water in the seas, trains, road, potholes, care homes for the elderly.
Yeah. Once you buy the country, Elon, there's no giving it back. Your decision is final. So make sure you make the correct one.
Yes, Nigel Farage saying make Britain great again. When I came here in 1962 from Jamaica, right, it was outside toilet. We had to bathe in a tin bath.
I remember
Light
outside
a coal
toilets.
Fire.
Yeah, outside toilets. Spiders in outside toilets.
So when was Britain ever great? What is he going to say, make it great again? Go back to those days?
Well, no, I've got to raise a finger in the air of complaint about that, Leroy. I don't believe that Britain ever was not great. And so I object to these people who say, make it great again, because that implies that it is not now still great. How unpatriotic is that?
And we foreigners who came here, I came here in 1962 from Jamaica. Windrush generation, they call it. We helped to build this country up.
Yes.
49 years I worked, never been on any benefits. 49 years, I'm telling you. I worked through this great storm of 1987.
Did you go through the winter of 1963?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember that?
Summer of 62 I came here. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
you
so
could
that was...
See,
that
I
was,
went to open my front door, and I went to the wrong front door because of the fog. That's how bad it was.
You couldn't see inside your own house. It was so
I could not see the front door.
You couldn't see inside your house. It was so foggy. Wow.
And I tell you, the racism we went through, the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah. It's
National
back.
Front, the
It's,
BNP,
yeah.
and now the EDL.
It's back. Yeah.
It's back. This Tony Robinson, this is what Elon Musk says he's going to... What?
He wants him freed. Elon Musk.
Wants him freed.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's just a child who's getting off on the attention. He thinks that he can do anything he wants because he's got a ton of money and he can throw lawyers at anybody who gets in his way. And people are paying attention to him, which is probably not what used to happen when he was just your average nerd. And so he's just, it's almost like he's getting back against all the people that probably picked on him when he was in school.
Yes, can I just mention Meghan and Harry?
Okay.
Right, Meghan, they could be the king and queen of the Commonwealth if we only had a referendum and only the Commonwealth country would vote. Then we could have a new king and queen.
A new king and queen, yeah.
Of the Commonwealth.
I'm not sure they'd like that.
Give us the referendum like they did in Australia.
Right.
But only us, the Commonwealth people, would vote.
Yeah. We don't get to vote. We don't get a say in it, and neither should we. No.
No, just the Commonwealth people.
Right. But don't Harry and Meghan get a say in it, or do they just have to do whatever?
No, they just put their name forward for king and queen of the Commonwealth.
Right. But what if they didn't want to do it?
Well, it's their choice.
Okay, that's nice. Nice to give them a choice. All right. Thanks a lot, Leroy. 0345 6060 973. Speaking of outside toilets, Anne says, I always put the toilet lid down as I have heard that snakes can navigate the wastepipe. Just lifted the lid to see a gigantic spider looking up at me. Check your toilet bowls before sitting down is my advice, says Anne. That is excellent advice. Yeah, lift the seat lid and check that there is nothing untoward in there. And then after you finish, put the seat lid down because of fecal flora cloudburst. Fecal flora cloudburst.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
Dave in Paul says, did you hear Cruella standing in for James O'Brien yesterday? According to her, Italy has a land border with Turkey and she's seen it. She must have amazing eyesight or powerful drugs. Well, let's assume it's the eyesight thing.
I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. I'm building a wall,
OK? I'm building a wall.
Yeah, everything that she says and does, I don't know, it just seems to get funnier and funnier. I know that that's not the intention. She's not playing it for laughs, but she's certainly getting them. Yeah, she went to Italy and she saw the wall that the Italians had built with Turkey on the other side. She saw it with her own eyeballs. She's a lawyer. I used to think that lawyers must be really, really bright, didn't you? But Parliament is absolutely stuffed with them, and many of them are total numpties. I imagine it's just an ability to remember a lot of stuff, which isn't intelligence, that's just memory tricks. Mnemonic devices. Leicester, Mary.
Nick.
Mary.
Do you know what? I am so fed up of people slating Labour. And thank you for sticking up for them and on your show today. I just feel like no one's giving them a chance, like Keir Starmer a chance. They're trying to, sort everything out that's been, ruined for the last 14 years.
Yes.
And we just need to give them a chance.
Yeah.
And they have done a lot of work. And, one of the things that I didn't like what the Conservatives was doing was that they wanted to get rid of personal independence payments to vouchers. And that isn't means tested. And if you've got a disability, it's really scary to think that you won't be able to pay for for your health in cash, if that makes sense. And they want to change it into. It's just that they just don't think things through. The Conservatives don't. And luckily, since Labour came in, they scrapped that. And they're really independent in what they're doing, and they're just trying to fix the black holes of the 21 billion that the Conservatives have, left for them to resolve. Can people just stop giving them a hard time and just let them do their job?
Well, no, because people are reading right-wing newspapers, and the right-wing newspapers are owned by billionaire people who don't even live here. They're trying to direct the country from abroad, from tax havens abroad. And the most important thing to the super rich is, we've come to find out, weirdly, is making more money and paying less tax. It's the only thing they're interested in, and that will happen under a Conservative administration more than it would happen under Labour. And so that's why they're furious that we, public, made the wrong choice, as far as they would see it, at the last election. And they want to really make totally certain that we don't do that again, which is why they've been pummeling Labour on a daily basis. And it works. Propaganda works.
And how sad is that it does work? You think that we live in a country with freedom of speech, that people can be independent thinkers?
No, well, two things are different. You can have freedom of speech, but you need freedom of thought.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, freedom of thought. Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. And I'm just fed up. I've read this general election. It's gone over 3 million. Over 3 million. No, we're not going to have another general election. No. We're going to go ride the, next 4 or 5 years that it has to go through. Like we've had to deal with Conservatives for 14 years.
Yes.
And, give Keir Starmer a break. He's trying his best. We had the race riots, if you can call them that, not so long ago, and it was a scary place for people of ethnic minorities. And, I just think there's a way of... I just feel like there's a lot of information that is being misconstrued, and, people in power saying things that is manipulated, and then people are getting all upset about it.
Yes,
and then they're targeting,
I think people are willingly being misinformed. I think we want to be lied to. We want to be told. But we're such a complicated people. There's this, there's this thing about us where we do believe that certain people were born to rule. You know, the landed gentry, people like this.
I don't know anything.
People like that. People with an accent like that. We think we almost can't help ourselves. We doff our cap and we fall to the floor and we almost worship these people. People who talk like this.
I don't know anything.
Like that. Mm. They're born to rule. It's like so innate. But we also, weirdly, hate ourselves for doing that. And yet we're drawn to people who never done anything in their lives, really. They were born wealthy, and we somehow revere them for that, for doing nothing, just being born to the right people. And because Keir Starmer is not one of those people, he wasn't born rich, then somehow...
But that's not his fault.
No, of course not.
That doesn't make you any less intelligent, only because you haven't got some numbers in the bank going up.
Exactly, but that's not how people think. It's instinctual that we revere those who were born into wealth, and those who
I just think it's a strange society at the moment. I'll be honest with you. It's all, you read what's in the media and you don't know whether that's true or not. You've got people who are like, shall I say, celebrities, and who because of the wealth that they have, and they have, it's just upsetting. And I'm just saying, just give Keir Starmer a bit of a break.
Right. Well, we're going to have to, because he's not going to be leaving anytime soon.
I hope not.
No, but so onwards and upwards, Mary.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear. Yeah, this is a masochistic streak that goes through this country as wide as the stripe in the middle of the road. We just love beating ourselves up about it, but we can't shake off this bizarre reverence that we accord people who were born into wealth. And it's kind of just us. I mean, other countries are less masochistic than we are, but we just love beating ourselves up about it, prostrating ourselves in front of the higher ups, and hating ourselves while we're doing it, but we just can't help ourselves. Anyway, let's not get bogged down in that, eh? And here's an example of what Keir Starmer is actually trying to do. And here's it's also an example about how it's going to be virtually impossible for him to do it. Keir Starmer is going to attempt to reset his premiership next week, says The Guardian, by setting out a series of radical NHS changes aimed at reducing waiting times for millions of patients in England. More than 6 million people are waiting for care after 14 years of the Tories dismantling the service, which used to be the number one rated health care service in the world. And then the Tories took over. Under the new plans, patients will be able to get direct referrals for tests and scans for a range of ear, nose and throat, gynecological, urological, bowel and lung conditions without seeing a consultant first. Now, this is what they do in places like Germany, I believe. You don't need to see a consultant if there's something wrong with your knee. You just skip the consultant part and you go straight to getting an MRI or a scan or an X-ray, whatever it is. And then you see the consultant, and then once they've found out what's wrong with you. You cut out the middleman. Thousands of patients in England will also be offered a same-day service with follow-up consultations on the same day as their scans, enabling more people to start treatment or get the all clear quicker. Now, that sounds great. But senior doctors said they're not convinced that Starmer's plans will work because the NHS workforce crisis means there's insufficient staff to bring waiting lists down anytime soon. And that is what the Tories did. This is why it's incredibly difficult for Keir Starmer to actually make anything happen, certainly in the short term, is because he inherited a bin that's on fire. Very, very easy to break stuff up. Extremely difficult to build them back up again. And it's going to take a long time. I would be quite surprised if we see any positive effects of the work of the new Labour government before they're going to be asking us what we think again at the next election. I'd be quite surprised. And depressingly, in the intervening period, we're going to be pummeled by propaganda from the right-wing press who are only concerned about their owners paying less in tax. That's it. I don't know why having that much money makes you solely concerned with clinging onto as much of it as you possibly can above all other concerns, but that seems to be what happens to them. Bizarre. It's almost as though having a vast amount of money delivers some sort of sickness. like there's a germ in money, and the more you have of it, the more sick you get. Weird. Matty says, the NHS waiting list... Oh, no, I read that. It didn't make any sense the first time I said it, and I'm certainly not going to read that again. No. This text says, I bought a litre of UHT milk from my super... Oh, UHT.
Disgusting.
Ugh. I bought a litre of UHT milk from my supermarket last month. It was 69p. Today, it was 89p. I'm loving all these Brexit benefits. Thanks a lot, Meghan Markle. Says that text. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Just before I go to the news, I'll read this one. This says, Nick, I was so exhausted after your A to Z. I was looking forward to a lovely normal show tonight, but my nerves are jangling like church bells already. What's going on? Yeah. Let's just agree that the next half hour is going to be one of peace and harmony. What do you say?
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Right, whatever.
0345 6060 973. Bath. Hello, John.
Hello.
John.
I tell you what, it's been a while since I've spoken to you, so you know.
I don't think that's true.
I'm not sure.
Yes.
What? Somebody else rang up and said they were me.
Yes, I think it's you.
No, it's not. Actually.
Okay then.
Okay, no, I don't do that.
Right.
I'm far too busy. But anyway.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I've got nothing to do.
No, I didn't say you didn't. Yeah. I love you very much.
Well, I love me too.
Yeah, I'm glad you do. I've enjoyed your program very much. I've just not felt a need to ring in. I've just been listening.
No. Well, I don't even do that.
Ah, there we go. But I was going to say to you that do you know the fellow that rang up that was talking about cold and our pensioners and stuff?
Oh yeah.
And it got all irate and all kind of reform and UKIP.
Yes.
It kind of slightly made me kind of perplexed because he didn't seem to mind when Boris Johnson said let them pile up, and when Matt Hancock said he had a ring of steel that didn't exist for them.
Yes.
And they all. I mean, I had my mother-in-law died during that, so it's like this idea that somehow they care about elderly people is quite a joke. In the same way with their farmers and the right-wing stuff that they keep coming out with. And
yes.
It's laughable, but you know the most annoying thing is, Nick, is it's somebody like Donald Trump, and forget Donald Trump to one side, let's say Elon Musk, talking about our politics. I don't understand for the life of me why the government, Nick Clegg, why they haven't actually called the American ambassador in to give him a dressing down.
Because he's a private citizen. He's not part of the government, Elon Musk.
Yeah, but the thing is, if somebody's interfering in our politics and interfering in our equilibrium, let's put it that way, it should be pulled up.
Well, the reason that they're not going to do that is because Elon Musk is Donald Trump's best friend in the whole wide world this week. And as I've repeatedly said, the reason that people don't want to upset Donald Trump is that he's an infant with a machine gun.
Big baby with a machine gun.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what astounds me is the amount of people from our country that ring up and support him.
Propaganda, advertising.
There's nothing wrong with them.
No, it's advertising. It works. Tell people up is down over and over and over again, and they will believe you. In fact, they will believe you to such an extent that they will want to pick a fight with anybody who says otherwise.
But Nick, can we not just cut off X?
Oh, right. Oh, okay. X.
I don't know.
I thought you were going with, can't we just put them on like an ice floe and push them out to sea?
No.
But you mean X the site as opposed to X unidentified people.
Just
right.
Until he behaves himself, just stop him from broadcasting.
Well, other countries
I know that's a bit draconian.
Well, you know, I don't think that I wouldn't miss X if it disappeared.
I wouldn't either.
No.
You know, it's on the one hand he's saying people shouldn't meddle with American politics, and at the same time he's meddling in ours.
Exactly right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, Nigel Farage was furious that some Labour. What did you call them? They were volunteers. Labour volunteers went over to do some work for the Democrats. Yeah. Which is not
as far as they got.
Right, which is not the same as offering £100 million to the party of your choice.
And that's the other thing, Nick. Is where have all of these Nigel Farage people turned up recently? They're ringing up all of your colleagues and stuff, celebrating him in some way. They really have no idea.
Well, I suspect that in much the same way as X is full of bots, full of accounts, all saying pretty much the same thing to any given story, in support of Musk and Trump and Farage and the AFD and, you know, all of that. And if you hover your cursor over their name, it will show you that even though they got a blue tick, which costs money, they've got 6 followers. I'm not exaggerating. There's so many of them.
No, you're not exaggerating.
That
you're right.
site is absolutely full of bots. And now they are repurposing human beings as living and breathing skin-covered bots.
But you know your fellow that just rang earlier on, he said, listen, he's got us into space and he's done this and the other. I mean, like, to me, Elon Musk, to me, is like a guy that's parked a caravan underneath Everest after somebody else put the flag up.
Right.
I mean, he's not... he's always... You know, mate, have you seen a look at that car that blew up recently? That
Yes.
I mean, it's the most square-looking thing.
Oh, it's absolutely hideous. I mean, it's like what a child would draw if you asked them to draw the most masculine vehicle that you possibly can.
But you try to reference the DeLorean, but very badly.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, my God.
There's a video of somebody pulling one of those apart with his bare hands. It's supposed to be this...
I've not seen that.
Yeah, it's quite funny. And it's supposed to be this real tough machine, and he compares it to like a Toyota Hilux, one of those indestructible things that people...
That's funny.
They use for... You see... like terrorists in third world countries riding around on the back of them, and they'll be like 50 years old but still working perfectly.
Nick, you probably know from our past conversation, I'm a musician and a designer, and it just seems to me that Elon Musk kind of piggybacks on other designers and kind of takes credit for stuff.
Right. I don't think he invented anything. He bought other people's inventions, then applied to governments for money to make the companies work, and pocketed the proceeds.
But this is the thing. But everyone venerates him, and they talk about him like he's some kind of he's just
genius.
A little rich boy that grew up in South Africa through emerald mining.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line of it. And he piggybacks other people. But you can see the way he... Look at his Twitter feeds and the things that he says. He's clearly unhinged.
Well, he exists in a childlike state, which I'm sure that all of us would if we were just surrounded by people who told us that our every little move and utterance was simply fantastic. Which is
Mr. Abbott, we're clearly on a blacklist just now.
Yeah, I very much doubt that he has time to listen to this show. But he almost certainly has you on a list, John. No doubt about that.
I just think so.
Yeah. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. This text says, like you, I'm really tired of hearing people whining about Starmer and Labour having not repaired 14 years of damage caused by the Tories. That and the Clacton gas bag, VP Trump, and the weirdo actual president of the USA seem to be all we are going to hear about for the next 4 years. Apart from you and James O'Brien, I think I'm going to be listening to a lot more music instead. Of course. I haven't heard that phrase in a while. You and James O'Brien. Plymouth. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Mark.
Hi. Yeah, a couple of things, really. They're interlinked. I'm fed up with people having a go at Starmer as well. I had a bit of an argument earlier on with somebody about it. He said, bring back Boris.
Oh,
thought,
no.
God.
No.
I thought, no.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
No, definitely not. No.
And I thought he said that because it's just three words, like,
Yes.
get Brexit done and all the rest of it.
Stop the boats. Yeah. Make America great.
Well, he was saying that, the UK was doing really well. And I said, well, in 2023, the government in the UK borrowed 119 billion. So I said, well, we couldn't be doing that well if he was borrowing that sort of money. And I just thought, Harry, are you serious that we're doing well?
I think this is it. The people in this country want to be ruled by someone with a posh accent, preferably who is worth a lot of money, because that's what we revere.
It's weird because when you look at the America, for example, and do you know what their national debt is?
It's in the trillion. The 3 trillion or something?
It's 34.5 trillion.
Right,
do you know
like
the interest? the interest they pay per hour is... Hold on a minute. Let me just...
Mental arithmetic.
The interest they pay a day, is 3 billion in interest a day.
And a quarter of that debt was... and that debt was accrued over the course of the last 100 years. And a quarter of it was put on by Donald Trump when he was president. A quarter.
And a lot of projections are saying that his plans are going to mean double the amount of debt than the Democrats' plans.
Yes.
So he's going to add more to it than they were. Now, people just don't get it.
And the same thing is going to happen in America that's happening here now. When Donald Trump comes to the end of his time, in 16 years or whenever it is he decides to pass it on, then immediately the Democrats get in. They're going to be blamed in America, just like the Labour Party is here, for everything that's wrong in the country. How come you haven't fixed it yet? You've been in power for 3 hours.
I do worry about the direction of travel for our planet, I mean, look at China and look at Russia. I mean, China, they've changed literally China, you can't get rid of him now. He's changed the laws. He's in there for good. Same with Putin. Then you've got people like populists like Trump and people loving him. I just think, what's the direction of travel for the planet?
Well, it's concerning. Yes, if I was an alien, if I was one of the aliens that's controlling the drones that are lighting up our skies, I would think I would choose to put a hyperspace bypass right through where we are.
Well, can you, LBC listeners, can we all sort of club together and buy an island? And then we could just, the sane ones, we could all live on an island and you could be our chief.
Oh, yeah, I'll have a phone line that's constantly ringing with people telling me that I'm getting everything wrong.
Well, you can delegate. We can all buy. I'm serious. I've looked it up on the internet tonight. Islands for sale, and I thought, right, we'll get a group of people. We'll all put in a little bit of money. I'm good with fishing and stuff, and then you could be in charge. The Nick Abbott God.
Yeah, you could be all diligently doing the work, the farming and the fishing, and building huts and so on, and I could be just standing leaning on a post, criticising your efforts.
I'm serious. I reckon we could all put a certain amount in and combine Ireland, and we can, at least that way, we can get away from this insanity.
Well, as long as it's an island where the weather's better than here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good plan. All right, I'll see you.
Nick.
I'll see you at the beach. Thanks a lot, Mark.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
We are running late. This text says, "Hi, Nick. For the petition to have any merit in calling for a new election, it should have at least 10,269,051 supporters. The number of people who voted for Labour in the general election. Anything less than that is just a gathering of sore losers refusing to accept the results." Yes. Yeah, you lost. Get over it. Maidstone. Hello, Rob.
Hello, Nick.
Rob.
Well, welcome to the new year.
Oh, I know, yeah.
I'm glad you had a bit of a rant.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd bring some levity to the situation.
Oh, finally. Yes.
Nick Clegg got sacked by Facebook because he upset Donald Trump last time round.
Yeah, I'm not sure sacked is right. But
all right, then, let go.
Yeah, he was. He stepped aside so that a more appealing person to the MAGA fraternity could take over Facebook, because, you know, the billionaire leader of Facebook wouldn't want to upset somebody who might make him pay more tax.
Yeah, and of course you bring me on to that idiot who, I mean, I heard those people phoning in earlier, like celebrating Musk, and I'm thinking, do they not know that at 18 did the chicken run from South Africa because he was too much of a coward to go in the army, but he claims to be pro-worker but moved his company to Texas because they don't allow workers' rights, that he's pro-America but he builds over half his cars in China.
Yes.
And yet somehow we're meant to listen to him when he tells us how to run our country.
Yeah.
That's like Suella Braverman giving you directions.
Yeah, Turkey is this way. Follow me.
And it's only the 4th of January. It's going to be a heck of a year.
And he is inserting himself into our business by saying how dreadful sexual assault is, and yet he just spent $250 million getting somebody who has been found guilty of, well, he's been caught. What's the phrase in America? Not because it wasn't a civil; it was a civil trial, wasn't it? He's been found liable for sexual assault and forced to pay $5 million to E. Jean Carroll, and then he complained about that, and because he libelled her, it went up to $85 million.
But you know what? We have I had an old teacher, and she said, "The ignorant you can educate, the stupid we just pray for." Well, and there are times when I'm thinking, as an atheist, even I might get on my knees and start praying.
Yeah, well, that won't work. I hate to break the news to you, but I seriously doubt that you will. It might be a coincidence if it works, but if praying actually worked, no one would be dead now.
That's true. But then I see that, talking of dead, have you seen all of these Tory MPs making their comeback rehabilitation tours? This morning, Jeremy Hunt was on the radio talking about tax cuts.
Oh.
And Miriam Cates, the old don't pay anybody benefits, now wants to build council houses. I think I went to, sometime over Christmas, I think someone might have slipped something in my eggnog.
Well, yeah, I know. Is this real life or are we hallucinating? I think maybe they think that it's a brand new year, so people will have forgotten everything that they did to us over the last 14 years.
Although I'm afraid to say that even some of my friends who managed to vote Labour this time are telling me how awful everything is. I keep going, can we wait till the Workers' Rights Bill kicks in, when renters reform happens, when we have a single pricing system for the railways, and all those bloody franchises have been kicked out, apart from Aviva, which the Tories signed up for another 6 years before they were kicked out of office.
Yes, and while we're at it, can we start dealing out some justice to the people who are running our water industry?
that will only happen when we kick the Tories out of the regulators. Because, of course, Ofcom's regulator went in front of a select committee and said that GB News were getting all of these complaints, but it's a matter of free speech. I lose it sometimes, Nick. I think if it weren't for you, I would be back in the mental institution.
Well, that's a little bit too much pressure for me there, Rob. But
well, you've got it now.
Yeah, I appreciate the sentiment. Cheers. 0345 6060 973. This text says, I need to get this on my chest. On? Oh, this is a very long text. I'll have to read that ahead of time before I actually read it out on the air, because it's just too long. Can you edit it down a bit for me, please, people? Northwich. Hello, Dominic.
Oh, evening, Nick.
Dominic.
I've been listening very closely, and I'm
sorry
getting
to hear that.
I have an increasing suspicion that Elon Musk is not one of us. And I thought I'd ask you the question. Have you seen the film The Man Who Fell to Earth from 1976 with David Bowie in it?
David Bowie?
Rock and roll!
Yes, I have.
So, are you familiar? Do you remember the sort of the storyline? Because it seems to be sort of shockingly similar to Elon Musk's life story.
Well, spoiler alert.
Warning!
All I can recall is that their planet was running out of water and they needed some of ours. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. So when he arrives on the planet, he arrives with some jewels from his planet. So your earlier caller was talking about emerald mining, and I'm thinking, oh wow,
Hello.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Hello. And then he's sort of like, because he's from another planet, he's like got like he's really, really into his technology, and then he develops like this sort of business called World Corporation or something, and then he builds spacecraft. That's his whole goal, is to build a spacecraft so that he can ship water back to his planet.
Huh. I don't actually remember that bit. It's such a long time since I saw it. I can't remember much about it, other than he took his eye out, or there was a cover on his eye that he took out, and we couldn't see him do it, but because the camera went behind his head and he was looking in the mirror, and then it came back again and he had his eye out. I remember that bit. Awful.
Yeah, literally just before I'm sort of spoiling the film for all those people that want to watch the wonderful film now, but just before he gets onto the spaceship, he gets dragged away by the FBI, and they X-ray him, and they realise that he's like not human.
Not human.
So,
right.
I'm just wondering if the FBI have ever X-rayed Elon Musk, or if has he ever had like a broken leg or anything and been X-rayed in the hospital, or anything like that?
Somebody should look into that very strongly and with great strength.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering. I mean, it's uncanny how lined up the two stories are, and it doesn't end well. Yet other things, it's like, he ends up going slightly mad,
yes,
because he can't go back home, and he ends up with all sorts of like substance abuse issues, and I don't think he takes ketamine in The Man Who Fell to Earth, but I think he's an alcohol person. Really.
Right. Doesn't he just end up watching TV all the time?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, he has a bank of TV. So back in the 70s, your sort of media inputs, as it were, would be like a bank of TVs.
Right.
So, and he's like on social media and like in all the time. So yeah, it's him.
This is spooky.
In the echoes of thunder's might, illusions dance in electric light, a symphony of chaos spun in realms where realities run. Thunder crashes, worlds collide, and circuits where illusions abide. Visions flicker, virtual and tempest of senses they conceal. Thunderous illusions, relentless storm. In the labyrinth where dreams transform.
Yeah, do you think he'll get back? I mean, he wants to go to Mars, but what's his real planet that he's going to?
Yes. Yeah, what's your final destination, Elon Musk? What aren't you telling us?
Yeah, so, I mean, I just sort of put the question out there, and if you find out, if it turns out that we just suddenly, in like 2 or 3 days' time, don't hear again from Elon Musk ever again, I reckon it's because the FBI have found out who he is.
Right. And
that's my guess, if it happens.
Right. So maybe he's like a lizard living inside that skin sack, which would answer a lot of questions about his appearance.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't like to be that nasty to lizards, but anyway, that's an aside.
That is an aside, yeah.
I quite like lizards. They're lovely.
Well, let's not get carried away.
Yeah. Well, if you go on a holiday to Ibiza or something, can you have them sort of like stuck to the ceiling, little baby ones?
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to touch one, though, would you? No, they're not cute. They're horrible. They scamper around the place. They're really alarming. They're like spiders with 4 legs. Awful.
But they eat the mosquitoes.
Oh, well, then I'm fully on board.
Yeah, it's really, really handy. If you go to like a hot place, South Spain or something, what you need is a bottle of gin, and you need some local lizards to help you sort of like not get bitten. Right. Anyway, that's an aside.
Yeah, another one.
Yeah, so, no, that wasn't an aside. All that was sort of like just an aside. I just want to say, thanks for everything that you're sort of saying about, giving Labour a chance.
Yeah. Pointless, me saying it, because no one's going to do that, because everybody wants everything immediately. Otherwise, we're going to scream and scream and scream till we're sick.
So, I think it's a bit more difficult, though. Actually, I think what they really, really, really need to do, and they didn't have the strength to do it before the election, but they need to really do a really big programme of major things, sort of like a post-war type of set of changes. But
yeah, agreed.
But it's sort of like the way that the finance system's set up in this country now, that just needs to be completely reversed, and that will take like real cuts to do it.
And it will also take more time than we have on this brief show to figure out a way of doing that, because unfortunately time is against us, Dominic. Yeah, all right, thanks a lot, mate. Dominic, 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 yeah, all right, thanks a lot, mate.